it, ensure that no other attack can come. So, should the government want to, go tyrannical and things go way off, into a dystopian nightmare that we all don't want, where people cease to be reasonable, which is highly unlikely because the majority of people are reasonable, but the unreasonable people have the loudest voice these days. The unreasonable people are in the highest positions because reasonable people will forego, advantage in seeks of, accommodation, of negotiation. So understand this, those in power are not powerful. Those in high places have no physical prowess. And that's not, to call anyone out or anything like that, but that's saying people who feel superior to others and feel like they have advantage over others and that they are better or superior to others, they aren't. Not in the physical world, not in reality. In reality, everyone is unique and everyone is equal. And there is no, our society may try to polarize that there are higher people than, elite people and average people, but there aren't. Average is just a mindset of choosing to, limit your existence to, less than you desire. Average is a state within everyone. Just as being a leader or a high performer is a state within everyone. Any and anyone can become whoever they want to be within any period of time that they set. You do not need to learn anything to become the best version of yourself. All you must be willing is to be that person, uphold those values, and move towards those ideals. And you are that person. So the thing is that, everyone is equal in the sense that everyone has the exact same opportunity, in life as a human being to be their unique full potential. But the problem is, society looks to cage and box us so that we all fit into idyllic trends. So understand this, true freedom and liberty is the freedom and liberty to be uniquely yourself and authentically yourself and not feel like you have to be someone you're not to be who you want to be. Okay? You should never seek to change who you are to be around people you don't want to be around. You should always seek to be around those who value you for you. Just like I always seek to be around those who value me for me. And those who do not value me, I accept you. I accept you and I don't value you either. Should you value me, I'll value you because you're presenting me with opportunity and value. If you don't value me, you present me with liability and risk. So you've got to understand, in life, in business, in relationships, it all comes down to, are you an asset or a liability? Is your partner, is this someone who makes you feel uniquely more yourself? Or is this someone who makes you feel distant from who you are, just so that you can be who they want you to be? Know this, the greatest loss in life comes when a man or a woman chooses to be who they're not meant to be because they think it'll fulfill them. When fulfillment and happiness come from accepting exactly who you are and who you want to be. By you accepting yourself and loving yourself, authentically for being yourself, you will feel immensely happy. You will feel joyous. You will feel loved. You will feel gratitude. You will feel self-confident. You will feel self-esteem. You will feel self-worth. But it's a very, very long process that you have to learn different aspects of the different layers of who you are and how you're made up. And this is personally for me, one of my projects is I'm releasing a thesis which is understanding the mind and understanding, and it covers self-validation, so understanding how to validate internal thoughts and beliefs, and understanding how to construct your narrative in your mind, and then self-confidence, understanding how to condition in behaviors, but also how to minimize negative thought patterns and self-doubt and things like that. And then the next one will be self-confidence, which will go through understanding what is confidence and what is self-confidence. Well, self-confidence is just certainty of outcome. So I am highly self-confident because I'm certain that, when I talk to people, I give them value. Because my intention is to help empower other people and enlighten them and create positive change within people. So my goal is to inspire people to believe that anything is possible. So in every conversation, I seek to always take the path of possibility, regardless of, how difficult that path may be. If that is the most difficult path, that is the most difficult path for me. Because I will always see what is possible over what should be. Because what is possible is immensely greater than what should be. And what is possible, well, unfortunately, it can never be. But to seek what is possible and fail is to live a life of dreams. So understand, we do not seek to accomplish, but we just seek to do, to progress, to move forward with no care for the outcome. All we hope is that we are bettering tomorrow. And that's a key thing to understand, is that our motivations in life, in business, in existence should always be to positively progress ourselves forward so that we move from day to day having amazing days. And should bad occasions happen, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel like shit. It's okay to feel worthless. You gotta disassociate those feelings from the negative emotions, because those feelings are just narratives. They're thought patterns. They don't mean anything. You can reshape them. And that's one of the beautiful things about my course on self-validation is I write these courses because these are how I formulate and understand my theses and understand it. So I study for years, and then I experiment and I play with them in my own life and build, and then I write them out so I can cohesively understand them. So understand, these courses have no meaning except for me. To me, this is how I understand self-validation. To me, it's how I remind myself on what it all means, which is awesome. And it gives me immense personal value and personal power, and empowers me to being able to do anything with nothing, want nothing and have everything. Do you get it? Does it make sense? I seek nothing and I experience everything. I am therefore blessed with abundance, for I am only ever receiving everything. And I have zero want or need for anything. Now, that's not to say I don't need money, you know what I mean? But it's to say that money isn't the reason. Money is just a tool for me to be able to, trade in commerce, to be able to, get the resources I need, to be able to live the life I want to the level of comfort that I personally want. So to understand this is that I do not seek outside of what I want. And what I want is freedom. Freedom to not have to worry about money, but freedom to not have to be motivated by money. So the thing is, should I want to live within the confines of society, requires more attention to money because money is a more dominant form of commerce. Whereas if I'm experiencing life, well, energy is the form of commerce. Like, do you get it? Like, I'm not saying I'd walk 400 Ks in a day, but, it's much easier to be able to drive places, but, you've got to have that energy and that drive and that passion of possibility and the desire of exploration for the uncharted and the unknown. So, it's one of those things that in life, what I seek doesn't have to revolve around materialism, because materialism is just comfort. So should I want to live in comfort, I need to focus more attention on materialism. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to live a life of comfort. I'm just saying that for me, I seek to build my bank account of experiences and enjoyment and love and laughter, and I seek to empower and uplift people over, financially succeed. Like, I don't really care about money. You know what I mean? Like, the funny thing is when I went plant-based, and the reason I went plant-based is because for me personally, like, I don't judge anyone else. Everyone, like, look however you want, be however you want. You are entitled to choose the life you want to live. You're entitled to do whatever you want in life. I do not care. But for me personally, on myself, I just have a belief of, like, fat disgusts me personally, on me. So it doesn't mean, like, and I've dated girls that are, curvy, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like I find them attractive as well. Like, that's the thing, is like I don't think it's disgusting on other people. I just think personally for me, because I have certain beliefs on, like, physical performance. So like, I'm a highly energetic person, so I have to be active all the time. I cannot stand not being active. So for me, I have to be physically capable to be able to, and especially when I live in Queensland, when in summer, I have to be able to do physical activities, difficult physical activities in 40 to 45 degree temperatures. So that's one of the big things, is for me, it's about inefficiency, but I also like I like to be ripped. So my ideal body type is the one I have now, which is like athletic, like a hiker or a runner or something like that. Like, I don't want to be like a bodybuilder. I used to, but not anymore. And the thing is the bigger you get with muscles, the more people that want to victimize you and try and show that they're tougher than you. When you're not too impressive with the muscles, like, it's no stress. Like, no one fucks with you. If you have just enough muscles to be like, you know, able to, you know, to deter people, like by basically, you know, if I punch you, you're gonna fucking feel it, cunt. Like, being able to do that, if you're not overly big, like, you're sweet. You'll fly under the radar and people won't really fuck with you, and if you show them respect, they won't have a reason to. So, you know, that's one of the things. But like, for me personally, like it's just, I had to go plant-based because while I was eating meat, it was so fucking hard to lose weight. I was always fat. I always had a fucking gut. No matter, like, I was muscular, but no matter how hard I trained, and I'm talking, I did 3 hours of high intensity, like, you know, high intensity cardio, high intensity weights, and then I did circuit training to finish it off. I used to be a fucking beast, and I used to just outperform, but the problem was, I never got the results because I was always eating fatty products, like, you know what I mean? And that's the thing I learned, was that if your two fuel sources for your body, well, there's 3 fuel sources your body utilizes, right? So the first is carbs. That's the primary fuel source, and think of it as that's the cleanest burning fuel. So predominantly, if the option for carbs is there, your body will take it. The secondary is fat. Fat requires more effort to burn than carbs for the same energy output. So your body will predominantly go carbs over fats, but it'll always choose fats if carbs are not available. So to lose fat, you have to get into a carb deficit. And then the third is protein, so your muscles and shit. So if you're on a diet without any protein, your muscles are going to deteriorate. Your body will cannibalize your muscles. So, you know, so what I realized is if you cut out animal fats and you just have high carb, high protein, you've got a high energy diet and you've also got high protein, but there's no fat. So for you to put on fat, you have to drastically sit in a surplus, like a calorie or a surplus of, 2 to 3 times what you normally would, because your body will naturally metabolize everything you eat. So, but the funny thing is because what I realized is if you eat carbs and animal fats in the same meal, your body, while it's burning the carbs, will just store the animal fat as fat. And then when you get hungry, you're going to want carbs again, because carbs are the easiest. And I love carbs, so that's what I do. I just eat fucking tons of carbs, fruit, veggies, seeds and nuts, and then all your lentils and your chickpeas and shit. And I just create these high carb, high protein diets that, basically, if I have a high protein diet and I don't train, at least I'm not going to lose muscle mass at such a rate. So, for example, I haven't done any weights training in 6 months. And on a plant-based diet, I've been able to maintain, so I can maintain around 68 kilos quite easily. And if I get back into training or I increase my food, then I just go up to 75. So I'm able to manipulate my weight. I get down as low as 62 if I'm doing strict fasting. So sometimes I do intermittent fasting and dieting to expose myself in the event that there's a draft and I have to go to the military and go days without food, or if I'm out on an adventure, hiking, doing stuff, and I have to, go days without food in a survival circumstance. So a very important thing to understand with that is if I just have a fat diet, it achieves the exact same. The key is you can eat animal products, you just can't eat animal products and carbs in the same meal. If you do that, you're gonna fuck yourself, because your body will burn the carbs and store the fat. But the key thing is, you want to try intermittent fasting. That's what I do, eating once a day, or eating for one period a day. Okay, so you can either have one meal a day if you want, or you can have a grazing period. So for example, I might eat between the hours of, like, let's say 6 and 9. For 3 hours I might eat, and then I won't eat until the next day around that time. So what happens is my body starts to process it, but when I wake up in the morning, what happens is the entire day I'm only giving myself, like, I'll have a coffee or something like that, and I have sugars. So I'm giving myself, like, quick, short energy bursts to maintain, but also, like, my body's having to utilize all that fuel from last night. So it's like driving a car on a full tank. You don't need to stop until you're empty again. But think about it like this. So that's intermittent fasting, where we fill up and then we go on our trip, and when we're empty, or when we're, like, depending on how far we travel, let's say we have a tank that does, 500k full. So every 400 Ks, we're filling up again. You know what I mean? So we're not going to, we can go to empty if we need to, but we're regularly filling it up so that we have a buffer, so for example, like, I'll wait until I'm hungry to eat, and then I'll wait another 30 minutes usually, so that, I can just extend that period, and really, as we start getting hungry, that's our body telling us that, hey, I'm starting to run low on fuel. And then what it'll do is it'll switch to burning fats. So I try and extend a little bit. But some days I might eat earlier. Like, do whatever the fuck you want, man. That's what I believe. But the other way people do it is they'll eat 3 times a day. Now, if you eat 3 times a day, you got to think about it. Your body, like, it takes like 2 to 4 hours to digest shit in your stomach. Sometimes it can take much longer, but depending on the foods. But basically what you're doing is you're constantly sitting in a state of digestion. And that's a high energy deficit. Like, it requires a lot of energy for you to digest food, and me to digest food. So one of the funny things is that the more often you eat, the lower the quality of your immune system and your repair functions of your body, because your body, every time you eat, when it goes into digestion, it requires so much energy, so it shuts off anything like the subroutines, so all the sub-programming. So you got to understand, until you finish digesting, then your body starts rebooting up and starts doing, like, your immune system and working on repair and shit like that. And, so, like, that's one of the funny things is, if we eat too regularly, we're actually deteriorating our bodies at a faster rate, because we're artificially putting our state in a state of perpetual digestion when nothing else can be done. It's sort of like, think of a business that only does sales calls, right? And all they do is prospect. Yeah, great. We're getting so much great stuff in, but if we don't, have salesmen closing, well, then, like, it's just burning and going to waste. We're just wasting, energy. So we're eating to digest, and then eating to digest, and then eating to digest. So what we got to understand is we want to eat a large meal and then keep as much time as possible between meals, so that we're able to utilize that energy in our day-to-day, which is pretty cool. I've got to find somewhere to pull over for a second. But just by understanding that's how I'm able to obtain my physique, is literally 80% diet, 20% exercise. So you gotta, like, to justify eating, you have to, like, eating is collecting energy. So that energy is either going to be utilized to repair your body, which most of it is, or it's going to be utilized to, exert, energy, physical energy and kinetic energy, or it might be used to exert cerebral energy. So, we just got to understand, we got to justify why we're feeding ourselves fuel. Otherwise, we're trying to fill up on a full tank. And it's just sort of like the fuel's going on the ground, and it's kind of, a bit of a waste of time. Which is, we don't want to be doing that, because then it's sort of like we're eating for no reason. Whereas, so, depending on what you do, like if you're doing any form of like training or anything like that, like bodybuilding or, physical training, like you want to match your diet to your outcome and your goals. So if you want to put on weight, well, you want to be eating twice as much as the energy you're expending, so you can store that energy. But all right, well, that'll end this one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.